What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Not mic'd up or anything today. I just had something on top of my head that someone from the school community wanted to touch on. And this video is going to be about Meta-Agentics and what that term even means. And yeah, we're just gonna dive straight into it. How I manage my code bases, my repositories, projects, and making sure that I'm not wasting my time on inefficiencies and waste when it comes to tokens, when it comes to my workflow and my behavior when I speak and communicate with Claude and everything like that. So I guess we'll first start off with the repository, your code base, your folder that work is done in. And this is really gonna be a decision that you have to make at the beginning of what project you're working on. So before, I would have like 9 different repositories for a lot of different things that I would do. For example, media, which would cover Meta, Post Hog, and Google ads. I would have one for sales, which would be a little micro SaaS for sales enablement and, you know, pulling the transcript from Fathom and giving us insights on setting calls and closing calls. You get the point. I could go on, there's like 9 of them, but yeah, so if you have an individual repo that has a specific identity, then that needs to be a development environment where the code lives, and it also needs to second as a agentic platform and repository for you to communicate with your agent in. And this is what this video is going to be focused on. It's going to be that Meta-Agentic side. So we're focused on, you know, the Claude.md, the agents.md if you're using Codex, specifically like context bundles, the rules folder, and all the guardrails, stop hooks, everything that you need to streamline and basically automate the automating of your behavior, of your workflows, how your agent pulls in memory, how it handles context, everything like that is what this video is going to touch on. And the other way that you can have those repositories is a mono repo. That's what it's called. And it's basically you do everything in one repository. You have, you know, this is not going to apply to most people, I feel like, for the best infrastructure and architecture, but it's mainly going to be like if you're building your own CRM that has all of those features integrated. So I just vibe coded my own GoHighLevel platform replacement, and it has the Iron Sales built in, it has the Iron Media built in for like the UpHex type of features for media buying and reporting, for, you know, everything. Funnel building is another Iron Funnels repo that was just eaten, and it's all under one mono repo. And it also seconds as that agentic platform where we have the Claude.md dialed in, the rules, the stop hooks, and just like what the best architecture and behavior as far as when you compact, when you do updates to the context base. You know, I have skills in the Iron Vault, it's called crystallize. And after each session, it'll go and write to the user level, the project level, update the Claude.md, update the code base map, everything like this that gets pulled in automatically just from the Meta-Agentics that I've set up. And that's why I really wanted to build that GoHighLevel replacement in CRM, because, dude, it's been awesome. I built it in 2 days with Fabled. Rip Fabled, by the way. I told you guys, if you've been in the school community and you faded me and you did not take the urgency seriously, don't fade me next time. But yeah, I just been, you know, I do this every once every month or 2 months. And yeah, this is a good reminder to have a skill. It's called, this is how I operate right now today. I'll open up and I have a skill called plan for goal. And this seconds as, you know, getting Claude ready to be primed into the code base and like the context of everything that needs to, you know, it has a code base map, it has the Claude.md dialed in and perfected. Just pull in the Claude code documentation and have it set up for you for what you're trying to do. And you can also do an audit of your past grievances of like, pull in any time I swore, pull in any time that I was frustrated, pull in any time I had to repeat myself, and then update that into the guardrails of the platform. That's also super helpful. You can make a skill around that. I don't have a skill around that, but I should. But usually I'm just planning for goals, starting the session in plan mode, use the plan for goal skill, add a little bit of context of what we're trying to do. And then once I get to around 500 to 700,000 tokens, then I'll use a skill called wrap session, which combined my crystallize and pre-compact skill into one, and it'll make a spec file for how to continue the next session, and it will also crystallize, so it will, you know, update everything and be kind of self-healing in that way. But that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in this video. I think it touches on all the Meta-Agentics. To get the source truth of the Meta-Agentics, pull in the Claude code documentation, know the identity of what you're trying to accomplish, and if your repo should be a mono repo or it should be a standalone individual micro SaaS repo, and have your behavioral workflows, know that you can do audits on your past sessions, and, you know, start planning more. Really shoving in the 80-20 of everything here is I plan up until like 300,000 to 400,000 tokens. I don't even start executing until then, and I have a giant spec, and the plan for goal will give me that spec. I'll clear the context completely because everything lives in that mega plan, and then I'll restart it, bypass permissions mode, I'll put the spec in there, I'll wrap it in goal. Even better yet, this skill, it copies the next prompt to my clipboard, and I can just Control V after I do clear, and we're to the races, man. You got the parallelization baked in where needed. You have multiple sub agents. Dude, it's awesome. If you guys like this video, be sure to join the school community down below. This is just touching the surface of what we talk about in the school community, especially on these weekly calls. It's been really nice to have these calls with all of you guys. And if you don't have GoHighLevel and you don't want to build your own GoHighLevel CRM, there's also a 30-day bootcamp link in the description below that you guys can get. If you enjoyed this, drop a comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.